All right, in this lesson we'll be solving quadratic equations using the completing the square method. So you should have mastered solving quadratics using the square root method, which was the previous lesson. You need to be good at that before you're ready to move on to completing the square. So first we're going to talk about a perfect square trinomial. There are two formats you'll see a perfect square trinomial in. The first one is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and the other one is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. When you factor these quadratics, you will end up with a plus b times a plus b, or simplified to a plus b squared. And when you factor one with the subtraction as the middle term, it would just be a minus b times a minus b. So a minus b squared. So this is what we're looking for when we're completing the square. So let's practice creating a perfect square trinomial. So to do this, we're going to take half of b and square it. And then add. So we're not going to be solving it. We're just going to practice making a binomial a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so here is x squared plus 6x. So 6 is b, so I'm going to take half of that, which is 3, and then I'm going to square it. So 3 squared is 9. So now that I have the 9, I'm going to add it. So now I have x squared plus 6x plus 9, which will factor very nicely into, take the square root of each of these. It's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 3, which is x plus 3 squared. Okay, here's one where b is negative, so I'm still going to take half of b, and that's not going to be an even number, so I'll just leave it as a fraction, and then I need to square it. So this is going to be 121 over 4. You can use your calculator or just square the numerator and the denominator. So this is what I'm going to add to my binomial. And then factor it. So you can either take the square root or just remember that this was the number. So when we factor that out, we're going to end up with, x minus 11 over 2 times x minus 11 over 2. X minus 11 over 2 squared. Okay, so let's do the steps for actually solving these quadratics. Solving quadratics by completing the square. we want c on the other side of the equal sign. So instead of having it equal 0, we want ax squared plus bx equals c. So you might need to rearrange your equation to make it look like that. Divide all terms by a. Then create a perfect square trinomial like we did above. Factor. And then apply the square root property. Okay. So here's our first example. N squared equals -72 minus 18n. So step 1 is to get it into the correct format. So I need to move my b term to the other side. And I'm going to leave a space. Okay, so I'm just going to leave a space there because I'm going to be adding something. So this cancels out. I have -72 on the right. So I actually can skip step 2 because a equals 1. So if a equals 1, skip step 2 because we don't need to divide everything if a is 1. So b is 18, so I'm going to take 18, divide it by 2, which is 9. 9 squared is 81. So I'm going to add 81, and whatever you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side. So we have to add it to both sides of the equal sign. So now, if I factor the left side, I end up with n plus 9. Remember, I'm taking the square root of n squared and 81, or you can just remember that 9 was the number of half of b. So n plus 9 squared is my left side, and then I just combine the terms here. -72 plus 81 is 9, and now this should look familiar. It should look like the problems we did in the previous lesson when we're solving by the square root method. So if I square the left side and square the right side, I end up with n plus 9 equals positive and -3. And then I just solve. N plus 9 equals -3, and n plus 9 equals +3. N equals -12, and n equals -6. I'm going to actually just change the color here real quick. Okay, let's do another example. So let's change the format. We need c on the right side. Leave a space. And we have 18 on the right. Now now we need to divide everything by a. So we're dividing all terms by a. So this becomes x squared minus 2x, leave a space, equals 3. Now we can take half of b and square it. So -2 divided by 2 is -1. and negative 1 squared is 1. Now I can put this in factored form. This one's going to be x minus 1 times, x minus 1 squared equals 4. And then take the square root. So I have x minus 1 equals positive and negative 2. Add 1. X equals negative 1. And x equals 3. Okay, let's do one that's not as clean. We're going to be looking at fractions because you can use this method for any quadratic. It works every time. So it doesn't have to always be in whole numbers. So let's look at one where we end up with a lot of fractions. X squared equals 54 plus 3x. So let's rearrange this. X squared minus 3x equals 54. A is equal to 1, so we don't need to divide. Oops, and I did want to leave a space there. So let's figure out what we're going to add. Negative 3 divided by 2. That is a fraction, so I'm just going to square the fraction, leave it as a fraction. So this becomes positive 9 over 4. Add 9 over 4. So remember that when you're factoring out, you're just using this number here. Okay, so x minus 3 over 2 squared equals, and you can use a calculator if you want to for this part, 54 plus 9 over 4, or if you know how to convert it so that the 54 turns into an improper fraction, you can do that. So this is going to be 225 over 4. Now we can take the square root, and this becomes x minus 3 squared equals, use your calculator if you need to, the square root is positive and negative 15 over 2. Solve it both ways. So x minus 3 over 2 equals negative 15 over 2, and x minus 3 over 2 equals positive 15 over 2. We're going to add 3 over 2. X equals negative 12 over 2, which simplifies to negative 6. Now in your final answer, you need to make sure it's fully simplified. Don't leave it as negative 12 over 2. If you can simplify it, do it. If you can't simplify it, then leave it as a fraction. This one becomes 18 over 2, which simplifies to 9. So x equals 6 and x equals negative 6 and 9. Okay, let's see, one more example. So this needs to go to the other side, and this needs to go to the other side. Okay, we need to divide everything by a. So this is where we're going to end up with some fractions here. X squared. 6 divided by 10 simplifies to 3 over 5x, leave a space. 16 divided by 10. If your calculator is giving you a decimal, I highly recommend converting it to a fraction. We need to keep things in fraction form for now. 8 over 5. Now let's take half of b and square it. So you can either put it like this in your calculator, or you can just remember that dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. Either way you get 3 over 10. So we're adding 3 over, oh, no, sorry, forgot we need to square this. So we get 9 over 100. Add 9 over 100. Now, remember this is what's being added when we factor. X plus 3 over 10 squared equals 8 over 5 plus 9 over 100. This is 169 over 100. Now at this point, do not simplify. Even if you could simplify, leave it as those big numbers, because these are going to square root perfectly. So now we have x plus 3 over 10 equals positive and negative 13 over 10. Okay, subtract 3 over 10. And this one is going to probably stay as a fraction, but we'll get negative 16 over 10, and that needs to be simplified to negative 8 over 5. Okay, and then subtract it on this side. This becomes 10 over 10, which is 1. So your answers are negative 8 over 5 and 1. So remember, final answers must be simplified, but when you're over in this portion of it, don't simplify this 169 over 100. I'm not sure if it even can be, probably not. But if you could simplify it, don't, especially because when you can recognize that they're perfect squares, they're going to square root well. All right, that's what you'll be doing in today's practice.